We always like to take a look at the latest happening with mobile phones and smartphones, and today we have the ASUS ZenFone 3 Zoom. It's a mid-range phone, about $479 in the Canadian market. 5.5-inch screen and an AMOLED screen as well, so really high-end screen. Not 4K, which we're seeing in a lot of premium phones, but this one coming in at 1080 by 1920 pixels.
I have to say, AJ, when I first had a chance to hold the ZenFone 3 Zoom, I realized that they took a lot of inspiration from the iPhone 7 Plus to be specific. You got these rounded edges, so it really looks like it has a nice feel to it. Like you said, it's a mid-range phone, so you don't have to break the bank, but you're gonna get a lot of cool features by getting the ZenFone 3 Zoom.
Well, one thing I could say is that I actually had the previous versions of the ZenFone, and the design style has changed quite a bit. Yeah. One thing I remember about my ZenFone is that the battery never seemed to die. And I can say that they definitely carried that forward in the ZenFone 3 Zoom because it's got a 5,000 milliamp battery that's built in, so you can't remove it. Not a feature that I love. I do like the idea of taking the batteries out, but we're seeing more and more of them baked right in. But at 5,000 milliamps with that sort of resolution screen, you're getting lots of hours. I don't think you'd ever really think about needing to charge this.
Well, if you want to get specific, you can look about getting 20 hours of battery life with this, which is remarkable. It's actually about 2 hours more than the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. So you're probably getting the biggest battery on a phone today. And what's surprising, AJ, it doesn't feel that heavy for having a 5,000 milliamp battery.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also one of the things we can look at is it's got the 2 cameras. So it is called the Zoom. If you take a look, we're seeing a lot of phone manufacturers doing this now where they actually put dual cameras in on the back. So kind of a cool feature. It's got a 2.3 optical zoom camera and a 12 times total zoom.
And that's what that dual camera is for in the back, to give you that optical zoom. You can get about 2.3 times like you mentioned. But what's fascinating about this is probably the first camera or the first phone camera where the front camera has more megapixels than the back camera. You're looking at a 13 megapixel camera on the front and then 2 12 megapixel cameras on the back. It's a interesting time we live in. It's the selfie culture.
It's the selfie culture. But you know what, I would say that a lot of people get caught up in the whole megapixel thing, and to be honest with you, you don't have to worry too much about having that biggest number in the megapixels. That's right. Because the fact is that they have these 2 lenses that are working together, and they really do allow you to do some really cool stuff in terms of getting great imagery as well as having that zoom factor as well.
Interesting move by ASUS. When they entered the market, they didn't go with any kind of carrier specific. They didn't do any deals with the carriers. This is a completely unlocked phone. You can get it from your local store, put your SIM into it, and then you're up and running. Speaking of SIMs, another great feature is one of the first phones to come out with dual SIMs. So if you travel a lot,
I always like that.
You could have your US SIM in it and your Canadian SIM, and you don't have to switch it out.
Or if you want to be really crazy, you could actually, like, if your partner or whatnot can have your own SIM in the phone. You could share a phone, and you can have different ringtones, so you always know who's calling.
Yeah, I don't recommend that, but it is an option, yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the horsepower. So in order to get that price point kind of in that mid-range, it doesn't have the most blazing specs, but I gotta say, 4 gig RAM, it's hard to think that you would need more to that. We're seeing some phones coming out with 8 gigs now, but 4 gig is plenty. It's got the Snapdragon 625 megahertz processor in it, so lots of juice in there, but again, not the highest that you can get on the market.
So who is this for? Well, it's for somebody who wants an unlocked phone, wants a phone that has a phenomenal battery life, and likes to take pictures with the dual lens camera on there. Again, if you are in the market for a phone or maybe a replacement phone, you definitely gotta check this out. It's from ASUS. This is the ZenFone 3 Zoom.